The Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe versus Wade shifted the abortion debate to the state level. But already, different state laws are conflicting with federal rulings. Abortion advocates say the patchwork is creating confusion for women seeking care. It's just adding to the urgency of the new legal debate since Roe's overturning last year. So let's get some legal expertise on that. Joining me now is Mitch Epner. He is a former prosecutor, member of the firm Rottenberg, Lippman, Rich, PC. Also multi-talented. I heard him in the break doing his mic check counting in Spanish. Good morning, Mitchell.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Let me ask you about how common it is that two different federal judges make two completely polar opposite rulings on the exact same day. This happened with Mifeprestone, which is an abortion drug. One judge in Texas said the FDA should take it off the market, even though it's been approved for 23 years. The other in Washington said they should do nothing, and they conflict. So what happens now?
So this is very uncommon, but it is not unheard of. If you remember during the litigation about the so-called Muslim ban in the first year of the Trump administration, there were many different district court decisions about whether or not it could be imposed. And what happens is the cases go through the appellate process and may quickly get to the Supreme Court because there is only one law in the United States, and it needs to be consistent throughout the United States.
Well, and Roe versus Wade was controversial, for a lot of reasons for a lot of different years. But one thing it did do was have a federal standard, and everyone was on the same page. With the overturning of Roe versus Wade, that no longer exists, right?
Well, that is correct. And I'm not saying that different states can't have different state laws. There was a real question of whether or not this abortifacient drug could be distributed in states that have made abortion illegal. But this ruling from Texas says that in states like New York that have constitutionally protected abortion rights, the drug still can't be distributed here. Whereas the judge out in Oregon said it can be, and in fact, it must be distributed every place where state law doesn't ban it. So that is a reason the case needs to get to a higher court quickly.
So this is headed for the Supreme Court. It's one of those things where most cases you apply to have the Supreme Court hear your case or appeal to the Supreme Court. And in this case, it just sounds like the court has to step in. Do you see it that way?
Correct. This is similar to when there was the marriage equality issues out of New York and California, and the Supreme Court had to step in. Many people were unhappy about what the marriage equality ruling ended up being, but I don't think anybody thought that the federal law could be different in different states.
And so when it comes to this drug, there is another drug here. It is Mifeprestone. And I wonder if that drug is in danger next, because if you can rule that the FDA shouldn't have approved a drug 23 years ago and now should disapprove of it, it could just happen with another drug. Am I right there?
So Judge Matthew Kacsmaryk has proven to be, who is the judge down in Texas, has proven to be very aggressive in reaching out to rule here. And I would not be surprised if the litigants in the case that already went in front of him try to bring a parallel litigation in front of him. And I would not at all be surprised if he made the exact same ruling.
But the important part here is how it impacts the women that are looking for care. And so what is the impact? Because in Texas, one judge has said this, and in Washington, another judge has said this. Do we still have the same system then where you can go from state to state and have different laws, regardless of these two differing federal rulings?
See, that's the problem. This is not saying this is what Texas law is versus this is what the law in New York is. This is saying there is a federal law. It governs every place, and therefore it is, under Judge Kacsmaryk's ruling, it's illegal every place, which means the FDA, unless it overturns this on appeal, would be required to take this drug off of the market in all 50 states.
How often does a judge tell the FDA what it needs to do?
I've practiced in healthcare and intellectual property for about 15 of my 25 plus years as a litigator. I have never seen this before. There are all sorts of procedural safeguards that are in place that would ordinarily prevent the FDA from taking this sort of precipitous action. And right now we've got, I think, 5 days left of the 7-day stay that Judge Kaczmarek put in place until the FDA, under his ruling, would be required to remove the drug from the market.
Wow. Okay. And let me ask you this then. There is the question of foreign providers, because even before these rulings, there were people that would write to Amsterdam. They would write to they would visit Mexico. They would go get these drugs in countries where they were legal, or go get them from countries where they were legal. Is there any impact here on that?
So what you would essentially be doing is you would turn this into a drug that was not authorized under the FDA, but it was not illegal. So it wouldn't be the same thing as fentanyl. It wouldn't be a Schedule 1 or Schedule 2 banned drug. So you would likely have a lot of foreign producers who would ship it into the United States. And take a look at fentanyl. We can't keep that from coming into the United States with all of the arrayed might of law enforcement. So I think that it likely would be shipped into the United States. But to harken back to one of your earlier stories,
hold on a second,
this is like
Mr.
the moose
Epner,
in the hospital.
Let me interrupt you there. That it would be shipped in, and you're mentioning fentanyl. There is a medical use for fentanyl. There is a medical use for mifeprestone. Are you saying that it would be almost like contraband, that it would come in illegally?
No, I'm saying it's not. It wouldn't be a scheduled drug, so it wouldn't be like contraband. It would be like Laetrile was, which was a controversial cancer treatment that people went to Mexico to go get. It wasn't illegal to have it. It just couldn't be legally provided under the FDA. Like, it couldn't be prescribed by a doctor because it wouldn't be an approved drug in the United States. You couldn't get insurance for it, things like that.
Okay. Thank you for explaining the difference to that one. It will be interesting to see how it goes and when the Supreme Court steps in, because that seems like the next step here. Mitchell Epner, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
A frantic search turns up empty.